Hello, my name is Adolfo and this is Life of Adolfo. Today I'm going to give the steps on how I got my baby, 8 months old, his US citizenship and US passport. When I say how I got it, the paperwork is already going out. Even though the interviewer said you need one thing. And I'm going to explain that. And this is for individuals that have a baby under 1 year old. You might need to do this if they don't have it here in the Philippines, or when you go get it on the PSA, which is a PSA certificate. I'm gonna cover that area later on in this video. But all the steps already done. He already sent it out. All we have to do is send that out, and they will send his, I believe, birth certificate and his US passport. The number one thing that I did, or we did, me and my significant other, she's from the Philippines and I'm from the US. The first thing that we did is go look at the location. Because here in Cebu, it says US Consular, and in Manila, it says US Embassy. I look at the reviews since I'm here in Cebu, and they say they do the birth certificates for a baby born in the Philippines as a US citizen and the passport. And the reason I wanted to go look at the location is to have a physical thing in my mind that is actually there. That they didn't change locations or whatever the reason might be. And the location is going to be located right here, and it's the waterfront. It's called the waterfront, I believe, hotel, or I don't know the last, it's just the waterfront. That's the way I know it. I went there and I saw the security guard. And I asked him what I thought we could just walk in and do it. He said, no, you do it by appointment. Here's the website. Once again, I'm going to put the website here, but also verify. I do recommend verify everything. Don't just go by what somebody's telling you, because things might change. He gave me the website on where to schedule the appointment. When I was walking out, or when I was leaving, because I didn't go inside, this other individual approached me, older, and he said, make sure you have your ultrasounds. That stayed embedded in me, because now I need something that I did not know that I needed. I went home and I went to the website, and these are the clumsy mistakes that I made. I went over there and I saw the Manila. And I clicked on Manila, and it said that I had to do the ECRBA. I did it. I paid the fee, which is $100. Right after the $100, I went to schedule my appointment. And I noticed the calendar is all blank. Literally all blank. It doesn't say full, it doesn't say not available, it doesn't say click here for your appointments or whatever. And I stayed clicking on it for probably 2 weeks. And before, because I bought a ticket to Manila so I could see the embassy, just like I saw the one in Cebu, since I couldn't get an appointment here in Cebu. And I did watch this video of this couple that the female is in Dumaguete, the gentleman is in the US, and he was able to do an appointment in Manila. I went back to the website, and if you scroll down a little bit more, you will see Cebu. I clicked on Cebu, and the calendar, it says full or not available. But now I could see that there was appointments to be filled. I stayed clicking on it for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I noticed that every Friday there were the appointments. They had new appointments. So on Thursday night, I stayed up all night waiting for the appointments. Now, what do I think happened, or what was my blunder? I believe that if you're in the Visaya area, I believe you have to do it in the Cebu consular. If you're in the Manila, you have to do it in the Manila. And the reason I say that is because I put the address of here in Cebu. And each time I went to the Manila, it was empty. When I went to Cebu, it actually showed me something. And on that Thursday that I was able to get in, and a little bit about me, I'm organized, but I'm not organized. I'm organized because I have everything in scan, everything in boxes. Unorganized because I don't remember a lot of things. I opened it and I started doing the appointment, the fill up the appointment sheet. I woke up my significant other because I was doing it at night. That's when they put them on. And she knows the phone number, the address, and everything. She started typing. Because in my assumption, somebody might take my appointment. I got the appointment and I got it 4 or 5 weeks out. Because the first 3 are full anyways, but I like to have ample time so I could do everything that they require me to do. 1 week passed after that. I went back to the website. I'm not sure if I scrolled down or whatever. I decided to read the website. Because after watching this YouTube video, they were giving this checklist or what the requirements. On the website, they actually have a checklist. Now, when it comes to the checklist, just because I did it doesn't mean you have to do it. At the same time, you'd rather be overly prepared than be denied. And I'm gonna cover the checklist and I'm gonna cover how the Cebu consulate looks. You're not allowed to take cameras, phone, purse, or anything inside. If you're taking your baby, you're allowed to take your stroller. Or we were allowed to, and the other 3. Maybe the security guard might not allow it, but we were allowed to. There were about 6 other babies inside, and 3 of them or 4, they had a stroller. There's a window, and then there's a door with a window inside. The door with the window inside, that's where the person giving me the interview is at. The first window, they'll take some paperwork. And for us, they told us we had to pay the $100 for the DS-11. If you don't know what the DS-11 is, it's your passport. Since we're trying to do the 2 things at once. And between that window and the other, it's like an hour and a half of wait. On the second window, it goes fast, maybe 15, 30 minutes. And even though it goes fast, you have to remember that hour and a half, they're probably looking at your paperwork. They're going through everything, see what they're missing or what other proofs they might need. For example, the person in the YouTube video was talking about DNA. We were not required a DNA. Maybe because I signed the birth certificate. Maybe because I was here all that time. Maybe because their passport matches. And I'll explain about the passport. Or maybe because there was enough proof or my son, the way he looks like me, or maybe his name is the same as my dad. But they ask us for one thing, and I believe I covered it already, is the PSA. I submitted the PSA, and the PSA that you get if your baby is under 1 year is not the actual PSA they're looking for. The PSA that they give you is all written, and the one that they're looking for is one similar to your birth certificate, and he says something about a barcode. He did tell us what we needed to do, and that's what we did. And now we're waiting for it. And I'll explain why we're waiting for it. But the first thing that I want to cover, if you don't do that step, you have to wait probably a year to get your PSA. And if you're doing when your baby is 5 months, you don't want to wait after doing everything and you're almost approved, all your paperwork is already in Manila, and now they're waiting for that. So you want to expedite it. Now, I'm going to cover what we did on the checklist, or what I did on the checklist, and what they asked for. But like I said, they asked for different things for certain individual compared to another. And the reason I say that is because you could hear what the window number one says, and they were asking him things that they didn't ask me. Now, when he goes to the other window, I cannot hear or listen what the requirements are. Same thing, vice versa with me. And like I said, there was 6 groups, and you could hear sometimes what they're asking for. Now, what they asked for. Now, you have to remember, I did the Manila procedure first. On that one, they ask you for the ECRDA. The one for Cebu, they do not ask you for it. Meaning, I already paid. I was trying to get my money reimbursed because I didn't know if they were going to accept it in Cebu. But they had it in their files that I already paid. So that's good that I did not get my money back. Remember, I did it in Manila and I did not see it in Cebu. Maybe there's another procedure on the one in Cebu. I do recommend you to look if you could do it online or not, or you rather just wait. I'm not sure what your plans are, but I did it on the one in Manila and they approved it on the one in Cebu. That's the first thing on the checklist. The second thing on the checklist is complete the DS-11, which I believe is the passport. And I did everything online. And one thing that I had to do inside there is that I could not leave nothing blank. It could be non-available or none. For example, if they ask if she's been previously married or and you haven't, you don't leave it blank. You have to put NA or none. The third thing is the applicants, regardless of age, must be present on the interview. I was present. I didn't have to do this step, which is if a parent is not there, you have to do the DS-5507. I really cannot help you on that because I did not encounter that procedure. Step 3, applicant's original birth certificate issued by the Philippines Statistics Office, which is the PSA. Now, one thing that I want to cover on the PSA is that when the interviewer was talking to us and he told us that's not the PSA that we're supposed to do, he said, I know that they will not give you the PSA because your baby is not 1 year old and you have to wait. Basically, the one that they give you is all handwritten, not handwritten, but typed in font letters. And the one they're asking you is kind of similar, I assume, to the birth certificate with a barcode because he said they needed the barcode. And I kind of knew that that wasn't the PSA because, and I didn't want to say this part because you don't need to know this part. You don't have to go through this procedure. And this is, I don't want to say it's another blunder, but it prepared us for the PSA, knowing that that's not the right PSA. We went to a lawyer because according to the checklist, if your son is born under X amount of years, you have to go through a method. It's called method 1, method 2, and so on. We had to go through method 1. And if your son is born out of wedlock or both of you are not married, you have to go through that step to have proof. And it has to be notarized. Since I did not know who had to notarize it, we went to a lawyer here in the Philippines. We gave her the birth certificate, we gave her the information, and she said, this is not the right PSA. And she said, one of the 2 steps that are required is a signature that you already did on the birth certificate, meaning I was physically there doing the birth. And she did the paperwork and so on. Like I said, this is irrelevant because you don't need that. The interviewer, the person giving the interview, actually stamps it. And I assume that's the notarized that they're asking for method 1, method 2. But he told us that we did not need that PSA. We required the other PSA. And he said, go where you got the birth certificate and ask for it. And that's what I did. I went to the hospital where he was born. That's where they gave us the birth certificate. And I'm not going to mention who, but out of the 3 locations that we went, because remember, we also went to the lawyer and we went back to the field house. That's where you have to go for the first step for the PSA. And at that point, you go to the PSA. That gentleman right there said we couldn't get the actual birth certificate PSA. We had to get that one and wait for a year. That's the person that told us we had to wait for a year. Out of those individuals that we talked to, one of the individuals told us to go to this location. There's a PSA where there's a lot of people here in Cebu waiting to get their PSA. But we had to go to another office which handles all the paperwork that goes to Manila. And that individual is the one that told us we had to send an email with the birth certificate, with the identification of me or my significant other, which it was her identification since she's the one from the Philippines. And we have to ask for an urgent expedite, meaning to get us a PSA. And that's the only step that we're waiting for. But like I mentioned, everything is already in Manila. They're just waiting for that PSA so they could give us the birth certificate and the citizenship and the passport. Now, I do recommend you to go to the PSA. It doesn't cost a lot, and try to get one. What if they already have yours? If not, at least you're prepared that they're going to send you back and you have to do that part if you cannot get it done. The next step is the unedited passport photo for the baby. And that's a 2x2. We went, we got a picture of him. We also got a picture of us. That's another step, and hopefully I cover it. And we took it to the window number 1. They're the ones that asked us for the photos. We gave her the photos. She attached them, and so on. Next part of our checklist is proof of citizenship, U.S. passport, birth certificate, CRBA, certificate of naturalization, and what I took is a passport and my birth certificate. I'm trying to cover what I took so you could prepare at least some of it. If you want to take more, take more. The next on the checklist is parents' 2 valid identifications. I took my passport, her identification, and my driver license from Texas or identification card from Texas. Next one, legitimate evidence, and it says go to this website for meeting the legitimate requirements. I believe this is the one that they asked us, and I went to the lawyer, and instead of doing that, since my birth certificate, his birth certificate had my signature on the back, since I was present, I'm not sure if that was enough, but like I said, he stamped it, which I assume was supposed to be here in the Philippines, but it's actually the person in the consulate that stamps it. You might need other requirements if you are not here present or you're abroad from the Philippines. I'm not sure, but those are the steps that we took. Like I said, there's different steps. If your son or daughter, you had them 5 years ago, 10 years, 18 years ago, there's different methods. If you're married or not married, there's different methods. I do recommend to go to that website where it says visit this website to understand what steps you are required to do. I cannot really help you on that one because I don't know how old your son is or you're married or not. I'm just saying what I encountered not being married and I was here in the Philippines. Next part on the checklist, U.S. citizenship parents' physical presence in the United States before the applicant childbirth. On this one, what I did, I took my taxes. I don't live in the Philippines. I don't live in the United States. I did not take the W-2s. Since I don't get W-2s, I get retirement. since I was retired from the military, I took those. I also took my DD 214 and my car insurance it's in my dad's house, gives an address and so on. But I did not give him my DD 214. He then asked for it, and he said that's what I was looking for. And he started looking through it. He asked me questions on my DD 214. I kind of don't remember certain things. Like I said, I'm organized and not organized. I told him I got out of the military in 1996, but that's the year I joined. And he said, no, that's the year you joined. So I did. I did the math, and then I gave him the answer. The next thing right here, it also says, applicant child born in wedlock, U.S. citizenship, father. I do recommend you to read these, but like I mentioned, the only thing that I took is my retirement taxes and the bills, like I said, about the car insurance and my DD 214. The next one is evidence of mother's pregnancy. I had to drive back for this one. Remember I mentioned that I encountered this individual when I was leaving and he said, take the ultrasounds? I took the ultrasounds. I did not take the receipts of payment. Take your receipts of payment. Also, take the paperwork when he was born. And I did not take those. I had to drive back. The good thing is I'm here in Cebu. I got them, I took them back, and I gave them all my paperwork and the receipts. If you threw them away, I'm not sure what to do on that circumstance. I do recommend you to go to the hospital, ask for them. Maybe they have a copy, I don't know, and they might help you on those steps. But like I said, I'm organized, unorganized. And here, if you read on the evidence of mother pregnancy, it says ultrasound reports, sonograms, pregnancy photos, which I didn't have, prenatal medical records, and other things that you require or things that they do recommend you to take. The next one on the checklist, evidence of both parents' physical presence in the same location at the time of conception. They're going to look at your passport, look at the dates, look at her dates. I assume that's what they're doing, because one of the questions they asked on the interviewer was for her is that was she already pregnant when she went to Cambodia or when she went to Thailand, since we traveled. And he also said, what month was it? She paused and she stared like a deer, and I gave the answer. And he said, quote unquote, usually the female knows the dates, like when they go traveling, apparently. I'm not trying to do nothing against the interviewer. He did a phenomenal job. I like how he did everything. And I'm just trying to help people prepare for these. Know when you got pregnant, where were you at, and so on. I did go to Cambodia and Thailand with her. The next one, and on this one, like, go back on evidence of both parents, it does say e.g. passports with country entry and exit stamps, Bureau of Immigration arrival and departure records, travel orders, and plane tickets, boarding passes. I didn't have boarding passes. The next one, evidence of parents' relationship before pregnancy. I did take my phone, but it stayed outside, like I mentioned, or I forgot if I mentioned that purses, phones, all those things stay outside. If you have a baby, for us, we were allowed to take our stroller. There were 6 other babies inside. 3 of them had the strollers inside, so I assumed that we were allowed, depending probably on the security guard, what he allows. On that one, before pregnancy, I did take photos. They didn't look at the photos. I had the phone with the WhatsApp and messengers that we were going back and forth. But like I said, it was outside, chat messages. But they didn't ask for none of that. Maybe because the X amount of time or when we met, it didn't give a lot of ample time. I'm not sure. Or maybe you're one of the individuals that waited for 5 years and they're trying to have proof throughout those years. I'm not sure. But they didn't ask for that. For me, maybe they will ask for that on your case. It's a case by case scenario. The next one, sequential or growing up photos of the applicant child, preferably with parents. I took some of the pictures. Like I said, my son is 8 months. There's not a lot of photos of all of us together. Maybe about 15, 20. Maybe you might need more, like I mentioned, depending on how long you waited to get through these procedures. Now, I'm gonna read this part. It's not a checklist, but it says reminder, while genetic DNA testing is a useful tool for varying a biological relationship, when no other form of reliable evidence is available, do not initiate DNA testing. They didn't ask for DNA testing for me. The person on the video that I saw, they did ask for DNA testing. One of my friends that I asked, on the steps that he went through, they asked for DNA testing, and he lived in the US, she lived in the Philippines. Same thing on the person on the YouTube, US, she's in the Philippines. For me, I stay in the Philippines. Maybe that was sufficient evidence. They did not require for me to have DNA. I'm not sure if I covered this. He looks like me, and his name is my dad's name. Maybe that's the reason they didn't ask. I'm not sure. But they didn't ask for DNA testing. For me, it's a case-by-case scenario. Now, applications for minor passport. Please bring the following. It says a DS11 with a barcode. I did it online on the website. I submitted it. I did not pay online on this one. This is the one I paid in the window inside the consulate. If you're gonna pay in the window, either take a card or take pesos. But if you have pesos, you have to pay the exact amount. I didn't have the exact amount. I had to pay by card, US card, and they took it out of my card. I believe it's $135. The ECRBA that I did in Manila was 100, so a total of 235. Things might inflate and you might have to pay more, but that's how much I paid. Now, the next one, completed DS 3053. And this one, let me look at the top. I'm not sure which one is 3053. Consent form notarized by a U.S. Commission Consulate. I believe this one, if one parent cannot attend, so we both attended, we didn't have to go through this form. Statement, the third one on this part of the checklist, statement of no social security number. I did take my social security number, but I'm not sure if it was for the applicant, but they didn't ask for my social security card. And the last one, it says payment confirmation if you pay via PayGov or bring $135 for payment to the embassy consulate. Like I said, I took my card, I paid in the first window. Now, like, I'm not sure if I mentioned that they asked for certain things on window number 1. Window number 2, they asked for me, they asked for the ultrasounds, the DD214, and I forgot what other minor things, but I already covered what I took that they asked for. I believe I mentioned that for other individuals, window 1, they asked for different things that they didn't ask for me. And you just have to prepare, read through all of them. I do recommend you to listen to YouTubers, what they took, what I took, to prepare you more and you're not missing things. I forgot one thing that I didn't see here, but it's very important. If you were prior married, take your decree, divorce decree. I did not see this going through it, maybe because I skipped it. Let me see if I could see it right away. I don't see it, but I do recommend you have to take your divorce decree. They asked for it on window number 2 for me. I gave it to him. He looked at it. He scanned through it. That was it. If you have multiple marriages, take all of them. And like I said, if you're the person you're trying to give citizen, your son or daughter is already X amount of years and you already have 2 passports and so on. I don't know if I read it here or I saw it somewhere else, but take all your passports, even the ones that are expired. I had an expired passport, but it wasn't past or during the time of my baby. I didn't have it with me. I lost it, but the good thing is they didn't ask for it. And that's all I got. Like I mentioned, there was 2 things that I didn't have, is the actual receipt of the day that he was being born in the hospital. Take those receipts, take all the bills. If you don't have them, try to look at the hospital. And the number 2 is a PSA. Since my baby is 8 months, they don't have it. I asked for an urgent, I believe I'm not sure what it's called, TPR or top priority something. And we sent them an email with it. 3-4 days we asked for it. They said they already sent it out. So there's at least some back and forth that it's already out to Manila, the urgent, so that we could get the PSA. And that's all I got. Good luck on it. And that's all I got for this video. Thank you, and thank you for watching. If you have questions, you can put them down below. If I went through it, I'll give you the answer. Thank you, and thank you for watching.